All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video on the Daily Dose of Tech. I'm your friend Nishko, and you are watching, Daily Dose of Tech. And in this specific series, currently we are covering Azure Bicep, and I think we are almost at the 6th or 7th episode. I think it's the 7th episode. The format of this specific series starts with we will be coming up with 30 to 1 hours of a video where I'll be explaining one topic the way I want, and the goal of this specific series is to come up with a good content so that we can create a detailed, short, and very precise video on this specific topic, whatever we discuss. So currently we are working on Azure Bicep, and we have covered a lot of different things. We have so far covered the deployment of a basic resource, how to see the different type of kind of keywords, how to upload, how to differentiate, how to find the name, how to upload it to different regions, the deployment name, all those things we have already covered. In this specific video, I am not going to deploy something today because it was getting very boring. So I'll be just going to the documentation and explaining one more concept to you, which is kind of the I'll just basically cover the few deployment things from there. So we do have a specific format every day. So today we do not have a timer, so I'm gonna just start with a 30 minutes timer so that I can just go straight to the 30 minutes and explain everything to you. So let's start. Before starting, my friends, if you are interested in following more content, you can definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, this happens every day. You can follow to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Instagram. If you want to connect me professionally, you can follow me on LinkedIn. If you want to talk about any other topics, you can connect me on X. If you want to get the notes of this specific series and whatever, if you want any code based, whatever we are teaching here, you can follow me on GitHub and get it from there. And if you are interested in joining the other fellow engineers or software developers who are interested in the same topics, do join my Discord channel. We are trying to build the biggest supporting community in the IT, in the tech. And yeah, so I'll just start and just quickly explain. So we started with Bicep, as you all know. I'm not gonna repeat this thing today as well. We just then saw how to deploy the Azure resources to Azure environment. There are a couple of ways, but we are focusing just on the Bicep. And then we understand the benefit. I explained a bit few. Then we understand the scope of the things. What are the things that how you have to decide the scope in which you should deploy your resources. And it's very important because that's the very first thing that you define when you are writing your first Bicep file. Then we have Azure Provider and Azure Types. Azure Provider is some kind of a group of specific resources that being managed by a specific team or something, and they are responsible for updating their APIs and everything, and they brings the types under them. So a specific service, for example a compute service, can have different types of resources managed on the Azure, which is Azure VM, images, disk, etc. And similar providers have there are more other providers, for example storage, disk, key vault, security, all those things. So these are providers and type. If you want to cover about it, you can watch my previous videos as well. We then started with installing Azure Bicep. Then our first Bicep file we deployed a resource group, and then we deployed the resource group using the subscription level, because resource group cannot be deployed on a resource group level itself, and this is how Azure works. Then we understand the difference between a resource group name and the deployment name. When you are working with the deployment, ultimately the goal is to deploy through Azure, right? So there is a deployment name comes there as well, but it is not similar to what your resource name you are going to give. So it's very important to find the difference between of these two. And then we wrote our first parameter file, and in that parameter file we started with writing a lot of data types. We defined a lot of parameters. I missed one of the values, which is params. So basically that is used to define a parameter that your bicep file can accept, and you can provide your custom values in the parameter file by referencing those parameter values. I'm gonna show it everything to you, or maybe we can do a recap sometimes later on. But yeah, the data types that are present in bicep is in the following on the screen. There are any, array, boolean, integer, object strings, union types, nullable types, securing strings, and all those things. We have already covered what these are mean, and some of things are common in the other programming languages as well. Then we have another bicep operator, which we probably gonna cover today, or maybe something else, but that's what we have covered so far. I do not want to kind of show something doing today because I have a limited time today. But what I'll be doing is that I am gonna open the Edge and the official Microsoft documentation. Azure Bicep official Microsoft documentation, and I will be just discussing about other concepts. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have basically discussed. There are some metadatas that we can define, and I'll show you how we can do it. But the very important thing is let's start with the outputs. So this is one of the things that I would like to discuss today, and maybe I can take this time to explain this to you. What are outputs? So how does the Azure works? Azure works when so the requirement to Azure, you come up with that you have to deploy a specific service to your Azure environment, and once that service gets deployed, maybe there is a dependent service that you want to use, and that dependent service is gonna use some of the values defined or deployed by the first service. So how to get that values to the second service? The output is one of the way. So when you are defining a module, and now I'm gonna show it to, I think first I should show them how module works. So this is kind of an important topic because this gives you the ability to organize your bicep file. So I'll start with the bicep module. So it's a basically another bicep file. So you define the bicep module with another file name with the same extension .bicep. You do not have to use anything different like in C++ or C. We defined a class, right, with .h. That we do not need to do it here. We can just create another bicep file with the name .bicep, and we can treat that as a module. That's how it starts. The benefit is that because you are working on customizing the deployment file, you are creating your own module. You can store that in your private container registry, and it could be in the Azure container registry itself, or it could be inside the your CI/CD as an artifact. How does this benefit is that whatever you have customized, whatever your environment security policies that you wanted and reflected in your bicep, you can store that information in a kind of a secure way. Because why? These standard templates are reflecting your organization policies, so you should always secure it. And because you need a central place to do updates on these modules, you should create a module and put it in a central place, and all the parameter files are gonna reflect on this one. Okay, there is nothing but this is how a module is defined. So basically a module starts with a module name. It is basically when you have to use it, you have to use you have when you are reading, when you have to use a module basically. So one of the thing is that you define a module, and the other thing is that you read the module. So let's ignore for the time being what is a module, how to define that module, but let's just see that there is a module already present, and now you have to kind of use that module. To use that module, you have to write in your regular bicep file start with module. But by default we use a resource tag, right? The resource keyword we use when we have to kind of deploy a resource, right? So we have to use resource keyword. But in case of module, you have to use a module keyword, because now your all the logic is not present in your bicep. It is kind of coming from another bicep, which we are treating as modules. So we can give that module we can give that module a symbolic name and the path from wherever it's coming. So if it is present in a CI/CD, and down the line you are downloading your module, so your bicep file should be able to provide that path where that module path is. So it's not the regular API path that we are expecting here as we have seen in the other resources, but it's just the module path which you have defined for your own custom purpose. Now then comes the here is an example. Let's say you have defined a module here. So basically there is already a module configured for storage account, and you are just using the word module to provide all the parameter things which are present here in the storage account, and that's how we are doing it. Then after, there is some naming convention rules that are present in AZ, like how to define your module and how to get the path of the module. That is also important, right? Then the name property is optional. It becomes the name of the nested deployment resource in the general. So this is one of the, I think, ease, but it comes with a complication, because if you do not define a right name, it is gonna take it from its parent with attached with a GUID, and that is not a good practice, because sometimes you have to reflect that what your parameter file and combined with the module property turned out to be what resource. So you should define it properly, and this is the way then it's needed. This is the way you can do it. Now okay, let's just have a path to a module. So if you have defined a module in your local file, you can just use this thing, or otherwise you can use the, oh, this is something new, public module registry. I have not seen this. I know it's been coming, but I'm not sure how fruitful it is. But there is a private module registry. So basically, if your private modules is stored in any of the private container registry, you can provide that link here, and that link will automatically fetch all the modules needed to kind of create that resource. That is module. And one of the important feature that you can include in your module is that there is a decorator. Now decorator is kind of a extra information that you are providing with your module, so that the end user can understand how to use this module. So you can write the description as a decorator. When you are defining a module, you can provide the parameter and all the other descriptions, so that your end user, whoever it's gonna be in your organization or you itself or another file, you will be able to identify that kind of the information that this specific thing is for what purpose. That's how the module works. Now there is an important concept that calls batch size, and I have came across a situation where defining this helped me, because you want that your similar resources which are not dependent on each other should get deployed at the same time. And for that, for example, there is an example of, I have a VNet and 4 or 6 subnets. Now the main VNet is already connected. I want to write my code in a way that all the 6 subnets should get created at the same time, and referencing that with their own route table and all those things should be also in place. But I'm not exactly sure what I came across with an error, and it's just kind of had giving that not multiple resources we can spin up. All right. So you can write the batch set, then you can write the description. So this is how you write the description, that whatever your storage model is gonna do, it's gonna at the end is going to do this. And then you can, the parameter you find, the module has 3 prefixes: storage, SKU, location. So you can write the allowed values. Then you can also set the scope of the modules that we are already doing in the resource group. So this is also important. And yeah, that's the module identity. Starting with Bicep 0.3, you can assign a user identity manager to a module. This makes the identity available within the module, for example, to access key vault. However, this module is intended to for the features not supported by the backend services. Okay, this is a new one, parameter mod. This is something new one. I think I can use it in my project. Starting with Bicep, you can assign a user identity to a module. This makes the identity available within the module, for examples, to access key vault user. However, this capability is intended for future use and is not supported by backend services. All right, so just to summarize, I know I'm not that productive, but because I have to show up, and thanks to Gatik you for pushing me. I know this is not a big video coming out, but yeah, what matters is that I should be pushing it consistently. So for this specific video, I explained everything about module, but I know I haven't explained clearly. But I will be coming up with a fresh concept and with a fresh example with more on hands-on tutorial on how to use a module and how you can organize it in a better way that it reflects standard practices and enterprise application. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for just looking into this video. It's just a part of it was just a part of my commitment that I have to publish every day, and Gatik helped me in maintaining that. He's my editor. Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, see you everyone tomorrow with hopefully a good content with some preparation as well. All right, thank you everyone. Have a good one. Bye.